He's had a masterstroke, bringing on the big centre forward, gets a goal for them. It's a great substitution. Whereas the Polish manager probably took off his captain, his best player, the last 15 minutes or so, when really you might be needing his experience, his passing, his ability to stay on the ball. So it can change very quickly, but that's what happens to managers.
Let's look at Big Val, shall we? He's got some amazing stats, right? That's the fastest ever scored by a substitute for the Netherlands at the Euros. And he's now scored, because he got both against Argentina at the World Cup, he's scored with each of his last 3 shots at major tournaments. So he's got 100% strike rate.
Honest, we was all, as the fellas have said, we was talking. I called it. You're my witness. I said, get Depay out and get Valhorst on, right? But my point was, I don't think Depay scores that goal, if I'm being deadly honest. It's a really clever goal when we break it down and analyse it. But fair play to him, because he's a number 9.
Give me or give us an insight into how your mindset changes as a centre-half when Memphis goes off.
Yeah.
And Weghorst goes on, because you're dealing with a completely different type of player.
It's difficult that from week to week in the Premier League you might have a big tall one that's a target man, you might have a small, sharp, nippy one. So in a game it's very difficult, because once you've been with Memphis Depay, you're probably trying to get up tight to him. You know that he can wriggle out of situations, and that now it's a complete different player to mark. But you can see on that goal that as a centre-back, it's so difficult when the ball's that side and you've got to keep an eye on the ball, and your striker pulls onto the side what you can't see, so you try and open up. By the time you open up, he's just popped in the split second, the ball lands and it's too late. You don't have time to recover it. So it is difficult as a centre-back playing against different body types, characteristics and different type of athletes, where I think they'd probably got to grips with Depay at that point. They understood his game, and then to bring something completely different on was a great move from Koeman, which paid off.
Yeah, I think the centre-half might have thought Weghorst was pulling off his back, actually, and thinking that they were going to stand it up in some way, and I better get myself positioned. I'm going to have to deal with a 6'4" centre-forward coming over the top of me. Took a bit of deflection, Weghorst got in front of him. So it was a great finish, but I don't think anybody should be surprised. I think Weghorst, through his career, has scored goals, and if you look at his records, throughout, he's always got goals, and he's come up with a big one tonight.
Look, I know we obviously have players like Erling Haaland in the Premier League. Do you think centre-halves nowadays are less used to dealing with figures like that than, say, even a decade ago?
Yeah, I think so, but I also think that there's still some big centre-forwards in the game. I don't know if we cross the ball as much anymore, and certainly, they're maybe not required and we're crossing it to head in as much. But there's certainly so many different variations. So we were talking a lot about people running behind and not necessarily number 9. Weghorst is actually a player who presses really hard, runs hard, and you would maybe look at him and think, well, that's not his type. He's 6'4". He's not that sort of player, but yes, he was very mobile and helped him in the pressing as well there.
So it changed your role as if you were at the base for midfield?
Yeah, I mean, you're always horses for courses depending on who the quality of the bench of the opposition, and this is why the best teams and the best countries with the biggest squads tend to end up in the finals and the knockout stages, because now you have 5 substitutes, which has changed over time. The quality on the bench is so crucial to win tournaments and win leagues even now. The first 11 obsession is kind of gone. The amount of subs you've got who have quality, and you saw that we were looking at the bench going, well, he could bring him on, he could bring him on. He hasn't brought him on. And Poland didn't have that luxury. So that's the advantage of having good squads. And we'll see it tonight, hopefully, with England. The subs will impact the game.
But when you're in the heat of that and you know you've got the possibility of 5 changes, but of course you can only use them in 3 bursts. It's not like you can do 1 and 1 and 1. You can only use them in 3 bursts. Can you sort of drive yourself mad in the technical area, thinking, well, how am I going to combine this?
Well, we were saying it's 1 each at half-time, and I'm thinking Ronald Koeman's thinking we should be winning this game, or we should be trying to do some more to win it. So he probably had the bigger decisions to make at the time. How can he change it? How can he affect it? And he did. His substitutions were good. The Polish manager was probably saying, if I could get a draw out of this tonight, this would be a good point for us against Holland here. And we just talked about the taking off the captain and probably their best player. Was it the right move? Am I trying to sit in a little bit too early? As the manager, you're always trying to decide at the right point when to make these decisions. I mean, look, the Premier League, I would say Jurgen Klopp makes 5 subs in most games. Pep doesn't. And Pep does it very late. So there is no right or wrong way to do it. You can only be the manager and try and make the decisions as you see fit.
And mate, do you have people? Did you used to have people in here saying, "What about? What about? What about?"
Yeah, you do. And sometimes, you have people behind you. And, And sometimes you're caught up in the emotion of the game, and you need the people behind you to sit back and say, "Hey, by the way, we're needing to do something here, here, or here." So that's what your backroom staff's for.
Let's go back to the goals in the first half. Do you want to start on the corner this time, or do you want?
Well, I mean, Ash covered it really well in the at half-time. Set plays are going to be huge in this tournament. And this game was a great example of a team dominating, looking like they're going to roll you over, and then a set play gives... We're talking about the blockers and the importance of them. The Polish team were galvanised by that goal, and it gave them some impetus then and some belief. And we'll see that more as the games progress, but it was a good start for them after a good goal for them after a tricky start.
If the offensive team land that where they landed that, and you have a striker that's 6 foot plus who's made that run, is that... I know we've highlighted the blockers and where, but is it nigh on impossible to stop?
Well, it could have been stopped, but I understand your point. So from the attacking point of view, if you can land the ball exactly where you worked on yesterday in training and your run is well-timed and you arrive there, it is very difficult to stop. With all the things that we spoke about, not checking your shoulder, not opening up, not staying with your man, not blocking him, sometimes you just have to go, let's take it from the positive perspective, and what a good and well-delivered goal that was from Poland. There is a lot of things, as a defender, and I'm pulling my hair out going, oh, he's not done that and this... But the run was great, the ball was great.
There's no goal, Ash, that you can't stop if you watch it back on a video.
I know, but...
Every goal you can stop,
But the thing is, that one could have, I feel, could have been prevented...
More easily
quite easily. But if you're a Poland manager or the set-piece coach, you're over the moon with that.
It'd be very dull if every goal was stopped, wouldn't it, really?
Oh, VAR tried. In his game that way.
Cody Gakpo was the Dutch's main threat, and he got the equaliser, David.
Yeah. Look, Gakpo's been done brilliant all season for Liverpool as well.
Their bodies on the line. I mean, you were impressed with how they defended last gasp in many ways.
Yeah, because it doesn't get highlighted or mentioned enough, but for full-backs, centre-backs, defensive midfield players, they're the horrible things that you have to do to get... And I know they didn't get something out of the game in the end, but even the goal, you see there's 3 or 4 players flying at it. They stopped crosses a lot, which is, for a full-back, it's something we don't talk about. Now we're talking about full-backs getting up the pitch and crossing it. But if you're a full-back, one of your main jobs is to stop that ball arriving. If I'm a centre-back, I'm telling my full-back, I don't want the ball to come in here at all. And I thought Poland did really well. How many times the Dutch team cut balls back and Poland were throwing last-minute feet at it, blocking it, protecting Szczesny. When Szczesny was called upon, he made some really good saves. They had a really, really strong team effort today. I just think, like you said, they probably ran a little bit out of steam, and then they took off the ball-playing Zielinski, and he was feeling a little bit leggy because he'd put such a shift in, and then they just probably couldn't keep hold of the ball as much as they was before.
Well, he got the equaliser for the Dutch. He also won Player of the Match. We can hear now from Cody Gakpo.
I think it was a tough match, tough opponent, well organised. Obviously, they scored first, so it was a little bit more difficult. But I think we created a lot of